cracking ice rumbled the valley as streams broke their frozen prison. Humanoid creatures surfaced and stretched from their hibernation. One of them, an old man with a club, flew on a black cloud, creating new rivers and lakes that reshaped the landscape. They were the Slavic frogmen, the Vodyanoy. And this is Legends from the Pacific. Aloha, and thank you for joining us. This is Legends from the Pacific, episode 110, The Slavic Frogman, the Vodyanoy. I am Kamuala Kaneshiro, a native Hawaiian professional writer, speaker, and Comic-Con panelist with extensive film and television experience. I study mythology, I've encountered unusual things, and I'm a geek. You can support us by getting 2 or 3 of your friends to listen to our show. This simple request goes a long way in helping us grow our show. Later in this episode, your featured song and Hawaiian word, but first, let me share with you the Slavic water spirit. As usual, I apologize for any mispronounced names or words, and appreciate your understanding. He is known by many names and throughout cultures, including some where his name means the zodiac sign Aquarius. He's considered a water spirit who looks humanoid with a frog's head and may have enormous paws, horns, and a tail. That being said, this may be his preferred appearance since some believe he is a shapeshifter. Some of his more amusing appearances include a humpbacked with cow's feet and tail, and a log with little wings that flew over water. Right. The Vodyanoy appeared around late summer, when waters defrost near the time of Kupala night. When the waters freeze, they go into hibernation. In Russia, they are believed to be part of a Tsar hierarchy, and our opening story included one which appeared as an old man with a club who controls rivers and lakes. They prefer staying near water since they can survive on land for only a few minutes. They enjoy mortal pleasures like playing cards, riding other animals, and smoking a pipe. They kill humans that are trespassing in their waters, grab those along the riverside, and lure others by leaving ribbons or handheld mirrors along the water's edge. The wounds and bruises on the recovered bodies are believed to be from the Vodyanoy. Sometimes they'll kidnap or drown lower-class women to marry and populate their species. When their wife nears labor, the creature will seek a midwife and pay them generously for their service. I feel the Vodyanoy was possibly an excuse for explaining women who were victims of other means or who committed suicide. The creature also enjoys freely running waters, so it would destroy dams or watermills and break fishers' nets. So, the Vodyanoy was blamed for any aquatic fatalities or damage to property. Something interesting I uncovered while researching this was the Vodyanoy seems to control humidity, which spells trouble for beekeepers. Because of this, offerings were made to keep him pacified. Beekeepers left honey, fishers left a pinch of tobacco in exchange for what they hoped would be a good fish, while millers would bury a black rooster under their doors and kept pets like other black roosters and black cats. Other offerings included bread, salt, vodka, and burying a horse's skull beside a river. Now, I'm not sure what burying things would do. I mean, it's not like the Vodyanoy digs around. The only explanation I could think of is these things crosses over into magic. But I digress. While this seems archaic, many practiced this into the 19th century. Interestingly enough, the Vodyanoy has a place in Christianity, where it was believed making the sign of the cross would keep swimmers safe. The creature is said to have fought priests. Also, there are some cases where the Vodyanoy and devil are interchangeable. It should be noted that if a Vodyanoy drowns you, instead of becoming one, you'll become a utopiak, who are known as drowners. But that's a story for another time. In the mid-19th century, during the reign of Tsar Nicholas, a farmer had 3 sons, but his youngest was lazy. The family tried their best to get the disrespectful youth to help them work their fields, but he preferred spending time in the village and came home late. One night, while walking home, the rivers gushed from newly melted snow. He'd have to go a while until he could cross without getting wet. He frowned. "Is there anyone here?" his voice echoed. A groan erupted. "I am the River King." He couldn't pinpoint the voice. "River King, I command you to take me across the river." "No," the River King said. "My slumber just ended, but wish to rest a little longer. Leave me in peace." The boy laughed. "I'm a guest in your realm, and this is how I'm treated? Take me across without getting me wet, and I'll excuse your rudeness. I shall take you on my back, but demand a tribute for safe passage. You'll take me across or I'll keep you awake. That shall be your tribute." The water stirred. A frog-like humanoid emerged. The child swallowed his fear. "There you are. Now, take me across the river." The River King smiled and pulled him into the water. The child's father greeted the rising sun and went to the river to start his day. In the water, his youngest child's body was covered with bruises. Lacerations filled his back, but the youngster wasn't dead. He pulled a heavy rock, tilling the riverbed. It was the most the father saw his son work. Do you know who the Hawaiian volcano god was before Pele? Become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member to hear this rare story along with over 20 others and enjoy other nifty benefits. So become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member today. As always, a big mahalo nui loa to our current Patreon members whose support keeps our show going. Today, the Vodyanoy has been seen in various media and games like Dungeons & Dragons and Final Fantasy. It has been written in poems, symphonic poems, the Witcher series, and Larry Correa's Monster Hunter International series. While researching the Vodyanoy, something about a humanoid lingering beside a river made me think of the Arthurian tale, The Fisher King, who was the wounded keeper of the Holy Grail who could only fish in a boat. But that's a story for another time. The Netflix Sandman series was released. I hope you got to enjoy it. I've only seen a couple episodes because it's been a challenging week, but hopefully I'll get through the rest of the series soon. If you like what you heard, please give us a rating and write a review. I'd really appreciate it. Our theme song is Mystery by Tavana, courtesy of High Sessions. Sound effects were by Sound Effects Factory. Our music coordinator is Matt Duffy, aka DJ TripleBypass. Links and show notes can be found on our website, legendsfromthepacific.com, including a link to your featured song, which is Music for You by Eden Kai, courtesy of High Sessions. Legends from the Pacific was written, produced, and edited by me, Kamuela Kaneshiro. I also wrote our original stories. Your featured Hawaiian word is how. How means ice. An example of how is, when heading to parties in Hawaii, we always ask if we need to bring how for the coolers. Once again, how is Hawaiian for ice. Thank you once again for listening. Mahalo and a hui ho.
They keep looking at the table so that people judging you.